Crane, sent from New York to investigate murder in Sleepy Hollow.
How much of your superiors explained to you?
Only that the three were slain in open ground, their heads severed from their bodies.
Taken by the Headless Horseman? Taken to hell. Rode a giant black steed. Cold. Even today, the Western Woods is a haunted place where brave men will not venture.
We have murders in New York without benefit of ghouls and goblins.
You're a long way from New York, Constable.
Is everyone in this village enthralled to superstition?
We have many things to talk about, even in this backward place.
Excuse my manner. I'm not used to.
Female company?
Murder! The Horseman's killed again! The assassin is the man of flesh and blood, and I will discover him.
Are you so certain of everything?
Perhaps there's a bit of a witch in you, Katrina.
Why do you say that?
Because you've bewitched me.
Was it skipping for anyone else?
Yeah.
I hope not, but probably.
You can always just put a link in.
I did see that on my screen. It was kind of. Anyway, I had to take off my hat. It was bothering me.
Right.
Okay. Hello and welcome to what? Is it not working? Is everybody okay?
You're coming in choppy.
You're very choppy.
Yeah. Marcelo's coming in okay, but
Yeah.
oh, okay. We had a second there where you were doing good. Better now?
Yeah, I can see you
Is
now.
it better now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We can hear you come in.
smooth frame rate and everything now.
I don't know what happened. I did see that I had a thing pop up. It was like saying, "Hey, your stuff is low." And I was like, "I don't know why. I don't know what to do. What did I do? I don't know." Anyway, so hello everybody and welcome to Neato Kino Movie Club. This is episode 10. I've almost done a
Hey.
thing for a whole year. Woohoo!
Double digits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost a whole year worth.
So I am Kino McFarland. I am a filmmaker, sideshow performer, writer, equestrian, and all-around weirdo. And I am a cat me with lights. Hello, everybody else. Who are you? How are you? Where are you? Why are you? What are you?
Hi, I'm Chris. My Twitter username is OG Cinematic Chris. I'm kind of a writer and low-grade artist and general hack fraud, but I love movies.
Marcelo, I am White Crow on YouTube. As you can see, big movie fan, movie reviewer, have a podcast besides this one that we call Beers, Bongs, and Battle Axes. We're doing all the Marvel things in December. On top of that, big sports fan, writer, director, a lot of things.
Woohoo! So tonight we are talking about Sleepy Hollow, directed by Tim Burton. I like decapitations, and this was the movie that really got me into liking decapitations in movies.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I have no idea.
You haven't seen a Serbian film, have you? There's a decapitation in that movie.
Well, a Serbian film was way after
Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow. I
What
think,
about what's that sport called? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I don't know. Anyway, so I actually hadn't watched this since probably I was in high school or college or something like that. But I remember liking it a whole lot the first time I watched it because I wasn't supposed to. It was just like on a table at home, and I just kind of watched it, and I was like, "Holy crap, that's cool." But years later, it's not held up that well, but it's still very fun, and I enjoy it a lot. So, what are your guys' thoughts?
You can go ahead, Chris.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I kind of cut you off.
I figured because it's like clockwise. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar situation to Kino. Last time I remember seeing this, I was probably 17, 18. Ending high school, starting college. I picked it up because I liked Tim Burton and I thought Christina Ricci was cute. Oddly enough, I didn't really like it the first viewing, and it managed to charm me a little more on this review that I just did recently. There's a lot of Burton tropes and artistry that kind of shows him reaching out a little outside of what was his typical patterns with this movie.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I haven't seen this movie since, God, it came out for rental, and that was... I remember renting it from like Hollywood Video. I don't know how my mind remembers that. And like watching it a lot, like the action scenes, like loving the actual action scenes and skipping through the kind of boring stuff to that. And a lot of it's not as bad now, but it's still kind of eh. But the rest of the movie is still solid, from cinematography to like a lot about it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think some of the effects are what...
Oh, she froze.
Yeah.
One in particular was not that very good, like even back then, 1999.
You froze on us, Kino.
I don't know. It's still fun.
Oh,
Sorry.
Kino, could you repeat the
I'm
last
having
sentence or
connection
two?
issues, so I have no idea what I said. But
yeah, you froze, so we couldn't hear you for about 10 seconds.
okay, so one of the effects does not hold up as well as it ever did. Probably is probably just as bad as it was in 1999. Do you know what I'm talking about? Which one?
Is it the clouds?
No, I wasn't even thinking about clouds.
To me, it was all the green screen clouds.
Yeah.
It was clearly shot on a sunny day, and they just
No,
compounded a gray sky.
I'm thinking about the witch's face, like her eyes and everything. When
Oh, yeah. That was very, like... felt like Beetlejuice, kind of.
I was just going to say, it felt like Beetlejuice or the truck driver lady in the Pee-wee movie.
Oh, Large Marge? Is that her name?
Yeah, Large Marge.
Yeah, it was. It did do, like, a callback to, like, the older Tim Burton stuff. But it was, like... Yeah. And we have a comment from Ham-Fisted Gaming. Forgot how stacked the cast was in this film.
Oh, yeah.
Not even joking. It's a fantastic cast. Michael Gambon, Christopher Lee, and then the actual leads.
Yeah.
Who else was in it? Obviously, Christina Ricci. We had Christopher Walken.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Pre-Troubles, Jeffrey Jones.
Pre-Troubles, Jeffrey Jones. At the time, going with Troubles, Jeffrey Jones.
Yep.
Secret Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah.
And let's see. I want to say Casper Van Dien, but
No, it
he
is
was
Casper
in.
Van Dien.
Yeah, he's in a few good movies, but he's not. I don't know if he's like a great actor. He's all right.
Yeah. He's a handsome, strong guy, and he usually fits the handsome, strong guy role really well.
Mm-hmm. True. So, any do you have any notes like you always do, Kino, or no?
Oh,
I do
Hamster
not,
did
but I was
mention-
going to ask you some questions off the top of my head because that is how I roll today.
Okay.
And according to so we know Sleepy Hollow is based off of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, correct? We know this.
Yep. Which inspired the Disney short.
Yes.
Yes. Which I actually only saw once, and I wish I watched it again before this because that would have been fun.
Oh, I should have too.
Anyway.
Never saw it.
So
I never saw it or read the books.
it's been a long time since I've actually read the story, and I meant to read it before this, but I don't know, stuff didn't happen. But anyway, so it's like one of the most popular American horror stories, kind of like legends kind of thing.
Yeah.
Culturally, what do you think this film says about American culture? Like in terms of like the lore, the movie itself.
Yeah, I actually have notes on that. Do you mind if I go first?
Of course.
Yeah.
Go for it.
In regards to that, there's a lot of typical Burton themes about traditionalism versus open/progressive thinking, and science versus magic. And in the past, Burton, like Edward Scissorhands, Burton was definitely more of a let's go with the whimsy and the magic and embrace that in the world. But I feel like this movie is Burton kind of growing as a person and realizing the best world would be a combination of science and magic, not just butting heads all the time.
No, that's a great point, man. I never thought about it like that, but definitely, I for sure when it comes to the backlore of like American history and that it seemed like a turning point of things of how it does try to blend kind of this religion and mystique of everything with science, and that was one of the things that I never really caught on as a kid for obvious reasons. But seeing it now, I love how it feels like they could blend together in such a way, and it's trying to find kind of a peace with that.
Yeah.
Eric is saying we talked about Ichabod and Mr. Toad on Neato Kino. Was my old series on YouTube, which I barely remember that episode.
I have not read that
Oh, that's another thing.
or watched it.
Burton took a lot of liberties with this project.
That's the Disney short, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he took a lot of liberties from both the story and the short. Definitely, Ichabod was just a coward in the original story and a paper pusher, and this actually turns him into a character and gives him a reason why he's not really cowardly, he's more just trauma-ridden and anxious.
Yeah, I was telling you guys before we started the stream of how one of the best scenes was just how it looked was the all white room where he sees his father and his mom in that like kind of Iron Maiden thing, and he has the flashback to how he got the marks on his hands. That scene was just beautifully shot, even for like today's standards, and I wish we had more of that in like today's films instead of this dark allure that's kind of been around for about the past 10-15 years.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
No.
Like just how it feels like. I understand that there's darkness that really goes with horror, and that the horror in this movie was kind of paying homage to like the Giallo horror, and kind of more of the visual brightness. Like for some reason, what got in my head was Suspiria,
Okay.
and I wish we had more of that bright color palette when it came to horror, as opposed to this sort of real darkness that mainstream media has adapted today.
Yeah. Because I see what you mean.
Yeah, because like superhero films have really gotten like a lot darker, and in obvious aspects, you need that from horror films and that sort of shroud of darkness, going back to like some slasher films in the 80s and wherever, because that's the point of horror, is that the dark is scary. But I just wish that we had more like brighter lit films, more colorful films of horror.
It just reminds me of clowns.
Clowns?
They're usually so bright colors. No.
Oh, I thought you were referencing a movie.
No, sorry, but I mean like the bright, happy colors and stuff, like, and how they're also terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wish we had more of that.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I mean, the first It, I feel, tried because it had that nice contrast, and then I feel like when you tone that color palette way down and you kind of drag everything with it, then the movie just kind of becomes something else, and it's not necessarily scary. Maybe to me, because I watch a lot of horror, but you watch it and it's all just, it's okay.
I think there have been a few movies in recent years where they use like the dark color palette as a basis, but then use neon lights and other bright colors as like highlight.
Yeah, which I think I kind of agree with Marcelo's point. I really think that a lot more films should be willing to experiment. And yeah, I mean, we as humans are kind of wired to be afraid of the dark, but there's a whole bunch you can do with cinematography and tech to make us afraid of the neon.
Oh yeah.
Or the, just more poppy colors.
Yeah.
Like Suspiria, that movie spooked me in first viewing, and that's like neon purple and pink and blue.
Yeah.
And then bright red blood.
Yeah, which was really, I know that I'm sure like Suspiria was probably paying homage to maybe like Hammer films or something in that bright red, or maybe they were just like, we need to try something different, make it pop. But I just, just from personal viewing, I just wish that they had that, because that would stand out way more than our current thing. Because even now, Michael Myers has gone to that sort of dark, nightish superhero dark town vibe, and it just feels like that's infecting a lot of movies today.
Yeah.
And then when we see something contrast of that's very bright and colorful, everybody immediately jumps on it like it's the next greatest thing.
I mean, like you mentioned, Marvel is a huge thing in film right now. A lot of them kind of had the same boilerplate Michael Bay color grading.
Yep.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and we had all these purples and greens and spacey blues, and everybody wants to do saturated colors in superhero movies for 5 years.
Of course. and don't get me wrong, like this movie had that, but the scenes where it tried to not have that because it was part of the story, or when they're in the church and it tries to light it up. Well, I believe there's like a sunset or sunrise happening, and the Headless Horseman can't enter the church, and he puts the stake through the heart. Like, that was a beautifully shot scene. I remember that scene forever, I feel.
Eric says, I think it's the move to digital. It was hard to do low light on 35mm films. They had the ability to go to low light and have gone overboard.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, for a lot of the
Definitely
interiors, I definitely agree. I mentioned earlier CG clouds for the exteriors. It's definite that they shot in daylight and then composited the clouds.
Yeah, and then there's some scenes that just look like they were filmed on a soundstage, like the beginning with the scarecrows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of cute.
I can agree. It's not a convincing effect, but it's charming, and it reminds me of the Giallo and Hammer stuff, which Burton is a huge Hammer fan. You know, he tried to work with Vincent Price and Christopher Lee as much as he could before each pass.
Yeah.
That's true.
I actually watched an old copy of the movie last night, and
You were freezing up. I'm sorry.
am I breaking up again? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know how to fix it. Today.
You were saying you were
the
watching an
internet is
old.
just- I was watching an old DVD copy of Sleepy Hollow last night, and really, like, initially it was zoomed in on my PlayStation because I was messing with the settings the last movie I watched on it, and I had to fix it. But anyway, so like I noticed like how grainy and old the film looked, like itself, even when I zoomed it back out and made it look normal. Like the quality just looked a lot like a 1970s film, like even without like any modern whatever. So
Yeah.
I feel like, so I didn't do any research into the film before we watched it or we talked about it today, just because I didn't have time. But like I feel like it was actually definitely, the film was designed to be an homage to older horror.
I agree. Definitely.
And then can I ask, is it this one? Because I got this one from my local library.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Does it not have like a menu?
It does have
So
special
it doesn't-
features.
Mine didn't have special features. I don't know.
Oh,
Or it did, and
I
it was zoomed in, and I didn't even notice. So
I think Kino got the
I
original
didn't
printing
get
then.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I've got an advertisement for Suncoast and Sam Goody in it, so
Okay, that's probably the original printing then. If it's got Sam Goody ads.
Especially Suncoast, man.
and Media Play, all three of them.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, that's
remember-
definitely an early printing.
Yeah, I remember buying like Grand Theft Auto 3 at Media Play when it came out.
Yeah, I tried to work at Media Play for a second, and I was like, no way. Anyway, so
What happened? They
moving
wouldn't hire you?
No. The story is that I had a friend who was actually working there, and she was doing one of her coworkers in one of the closets. So I was like, I'm not going to work there. Anyway,
Fair.
Seems like a fun shop.
Eric worked at Media Play. You better not have worked at my Media Play, Eric.
Yeah.
Eric is actually from Cincinnati, where I am originally from.
Oh, okay.
He has done films. He was on here before, I think, once. You worked in okay. I always went to the Forest Fair one. Anyway.
Is that the one that only had the closet that people were banging in?
Yes.
Big oof.
Anyway.
Just
Anyway.
not sad. That's just not sanitary.
Yeah, well, you know, teenagers. Especially goth ones.
Touche.
God ones fool around a lot.
At least they did in Ohio. I don't know.
You know, we're gonna have to clip what you and I's eyes just did when that question came up.
Anyway, off this tangent. That's how horror movies start. That's very true. Very true. Okay. So anyway, next topic. I don't even have one. Anyone? I know you guys have notes. What do you guys want to talk about regarding Sleepy Hollow, not goth teenagers in Ohio?
In closets that are doing it.
Well, I can only speak of goth teenagers in Montana, so. But
I was not
do
friends
have
with
a-
goths.
I do have a question, which will be interesting to see, or a topic to see you two's opinions on, since Marcelo hasn't read the original and you have.
It's been a long time.
How
But yeah.
do we feel about Ichabod as he's presented here? as a protagonist. Does he work? Like, writing-wise?
Ooh.
I mean, Depp gives a good performance. I don't think we
Yeah.
can disagree.
I think he's very humorous, and I think he's entertaining. Would that be my choice of how to portray the character? No.
I feel like the way he's introduced is kind of is a little contradictory to him being a little cowardly later, because it seems like he was actually trying to introduce new things in the town and the city and safe, and then when he's like actually given his whole thing later, that's when he starts to become cowardly. So that's like the only part where I feel like I was a little off on. But I think later in the last 2/3 of the film, he works as the protagonist. The first third, I don't think he does.
Yeah, I feel like in the beginning he seems very inauthentic as like a constable or somebody who's doing those things, especially like it was. I got like when I was watching, I was like, he feels like a snake oil salesman.
Very.
Like he's not actually into the sciences or anything. Like he's just doing it to like earn a buck or two from the town. But I don't know. It's very odd, and I'm not a big fan of at least the introduction of the character.
Yeah.
See, I had very similar thoughts, which is why I wanted to bring it up as a discussion topic. Like in my notes, I write that I don't think that the forensics Ichabod works well enough with his like traditional cowardly tropes. Because, like you mentioned, Marcelo, he's willing to talk to the Burgermeister to be like, hey, we need science in the community. We need to actually, not just beat up everyone with the cops and then hope all crimes are solved that way. But like, he's a coward, but he can cut up bodies, no problem, stare down a neck stump and only get scared because there's a bug.
Yeah, that's true.
He seemed kind of grossed out by gore in general. Like that's really seemed like his thing, is he's like a little squeamish, not really cowardly, which I thought was, I don't know, it's an odd choice.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of Tony Shalhoub and Monk for some reason. Like that's when I got those vibes from.
Yeah, a little bit, but maybe, I don't know. Monk at least feels a little more authentic.
And then another big moment I write about
True.
is I was a little conflicted about his action hero moments, like when he and Brahm fight the horsemen together.
Oh yeah.
From what we'd seen in Ichabod,
Yeah.
it felt like it would have made more sense to him to do that like big farming tool shovel in the Headless Horseman's back and then just run off.
That's true. It
Yeah.
was also, yeah, I completely agree, and it felt kind of like mid 2000s indie movie with the way he leaves town, then he has an epiphany, and then he comes back to town to get the girl and everything. Like that was kind of a little different.
I'm betting that was probably a studio note.
Yeah.
Like
I
didn't
go ahead.
feel like a Burton thing.
That's true.
In like the late 90s and early 2000s, wasn't that when like the action horror stuff was really starting to kick off?
Very.
Yeah, Scream was what, 96, 97?
I think it might have been 95.
We had The Mummy in 1999.
Yeah. I just think of Scream because that kind of...
No, you're right, 96.
I think of Scream for like twisting the horror genre into more action comedy with horror elements for a good 5 years there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then later, it felt like studios were really trying to piggyback that by having some iconic thing that they could create, from like to Valentine to Urban Legend to Urban Legends.
Yeah, both of the Urban Legends. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of the second one too. I was like, oh yeah, it is Urban Legends. Because I don't remember if it was Urban Legend or Urban Legends. That's why I was like,
yeah, first one is Urban Legends, and then Urban Legends Final Cut, I think, is the second.
Yeah, I remember those two are horrible, of course.
Candyman.
Eric brought up the Candyman,
Yeah.
It's
Candyman also went through a more action-y less horror with the sequels before we got to the new one.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
That's true. Which, by the way, the new one's actually really good. It's just the ending's a little thumbs up.
I haven't seen it yet, and I really want to.
Let
I'm
me know
so
when you do.
behind on everything, but
I wrote a huge research paper on it just for funsies.
oh,
'cause
nice.
I love the new one.
I've been reading articles about the new one. I don't know, since last year, I guess. It just sounds so awesome.
Well, just to kind of, one of my things I wanted to ask you guys was, I don't know if we've asked this on here before, but what was your first kind of exposure to horror? Or if you can't remember, then what's one big moment that sticks out in your mind when it comes to anything horror that either scared you or intrigued you to where you wanted to dive deeper?
This is going to be a long episode.
We got time.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot to say on that too.
If this is your final one, Kino, this is the best way to go out.
This is not going to be my final one.
Okay.
Actually. But, I mean, I've just been super busy, so I don't know. Anyway, so horror with me is just a long... I don't know. I don't remember my first experience with horror. I just remember as a kid, I would be watching whatever my family was watching from behind the couch. Like, I was like, I'm not supposed to see this. I'm going to go peek at it, and then I'm going to go run and hide because it scares the shit out of me.
Do you remember like what it was?
I don't know, but I remember my sister and my brother would torment me about Chucky being under my bed all the time. And apparently that scared me a whole lot, especially because my brother had the doll that Chucky was modeled after.
The good guy.
Oh man.
Like the original My Buddy. So I'm like, yeah. But anyway, and then my family like was always really big into Halloween. So like my extended family and everything, we would all get together and go to haunted houses. And we did that for years. And that was kind of the start. And then I also was in the Goosebumps book club at my bookstore. I really can't tell you what was the beginning of horror for me because it's just kind of always been there.
Oh yeah, no, at least just like a few big moments was all. If you can't remember, obviously, your first exposure.
But I remember like the first time I got really excited to sit down and watch a horror movie by myself was when I caught one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets on TV. Like, and it was just playing and I just watched it all the way through and I was like, wow. That's all I remember.
Nice.
I like it.
And Chris.
Oh, my turn? Okay. It's weird. I actually do have a vivid memory of my first encounter with horror. I don't know how it stuck over other memories, but I was like 2 or 3. My aunt lived down in Salt Lake City, so my dad wanted to go from Montana to visit her when I was just a little kid, and we stayed in her basement, just sleeping on the couches. And my dad also has anxiety and ADHD, so he has a hard time getting to sleep. So he turned on movies on her TV and ended up watching King Kong. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I have a vivid memory of just seeing 1930s black and white King Kong just barreling its eyes down at the camera. And that stuck with me for the longest time. And then probably the first one I watched was like 2nd or 3rd grade was Creature from the Black Lagoon. So I've always gonna have a fondness for Gilman.
Very nice, man.
I watched it on TV once and I was like, I loved it. I'm wondering if I saw some old horror films on TV and I liked those first before I liked Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm really curious because I was always watching black and white stuff.
Yeah.
It's possible because like, those classics were all rated G or PG because they were old. So my parents were a little cautious with me being the firstborn kid, so I was kind of a trial kid for this stuff. And they're like, oh, we don't want him to get into this too young, but he definitely has a passion, so we'll let him watch the classics. So, all those Universal horror movies. were okay, but I had to wait for Nightmare and stuff until I was in my teens.
What about
That's
you?
awesome.
Neato?
So my thing is, I can't remember one vivid memory so much as pieces of things. Like, it wasn't the horror movies that scared me, because a lot of my cousins would watch horror movies. Like, for some reason, they would just buy them, and then I'd end up watching it with them. The one scene that ever scared me was Tales from the Crypt, or Tales from the Hood. And it's the end of it, they're all in hell, and then the main guy becomes the devil. And because I was like very like religious, or at least like really heavily believed in God at the time, seeing them in hell and then it like zooms out in the crappiest 90s animation you can do, it's just blew my mind. And I just remember like, ah! Like just scared as all hell and just running upstairs because we were in the basement. And then aside from that, I think the first movie I ever watched by myself was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that I've always loved Leatherface, and he's always been that for me that people are for like Freddy Krueger and that. But there are pieces though that have scared the hell out of me. Like if my mom was sleeping, I remember like I can't sleep, so I'm just gonna go and like sneak on the TV, put it real low, and it's not the horror movie per se, because I was okay with the horror movie, but the creepy commercials that they would have, to where it's just one guy talking over a very shitty mic, like explaining like, come down to the country fair down at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Because it seemed like something like that guy was in the house, or like that's the creepiest thing because it feels like they're right there in the room. Like that shit's always been scary. It's just a one-shot camera like this with maybe like one thing moving and nothing else. Like that's just unnerved me to this day.
Eric says we had a horror host, the Cool Ghoul, on Channel 19 in Cincinnati. When was this? Because I do not remember that, and I wish I had seen that. I remember there was Dr. Creep in Dayton, Ohio, who I did a benefit show for when I was doing Sideshow up there, but I don't know about the Cool Ghoul, which is weird because that's where I lived, not Dayton.
That's cool though that a lot of towns had that person, because I feel like Denver never had, and I think that's when I went to cable and I saw Joe Bob doing something. That's when I was able to kind of see something.
I was gonna say, like, we didn't really have our own in Montana broadcasting, but we did get Svengoolie reruns.
Oh, I've heard of Svengoolie.
That's how I got into horror hosting, and then Elvira tapes at Hastings when I was a teenager.
Of course. Oh, you mother.
You need bobby pins, I'm telling you.
Bobby pins are staples.
It's fine, but it goes like right there, and that's not nacho.
That's a little bit more Michael Jackson.
It is.
Yeah, that's Thriller Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Anyway, Ham-Fisted Gaming.
Let's see how long
My first encounter with horror was Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
I mean, on this note, I mean, if we're gonna go on Halloween horror tangent, if that's okay.
Go for it.
What was we've already kind of talked about the first horror movie that kind of stuck with us. What was the last horror movie that haunted you guys' brain? I know we're all deeply desensitized, so it'd be interesting to hear.
The one that I recently watched that's been sticking with me is probably the Babadook. Like the movie as a whole is all right, but the actual atmosphere and everything is so well done. And that's been one that's just like kind of actually stuck with me.
I have a story about Jennifer Kent, but I can't tell it right now.
No, okay.
It's a personal story that's in progress.
Oh, okay.
You hear that? If you're watching, we're gonna talk shit behind your back after the show.
No, nothing like that. No, you're crazy. Anyway, I don't remember. I don't know what the last.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh. Yeah, Kino's. Uh-oh, she's died. No, she's back.
Oh, we got some movement. Oh, she lives. Okay.
We're good.
All right.
What did you ask?
Did
you say something to me?
We're
waiting for you. Yeah. You keep freezing, so.
Oh, sorry, I don't know. I think we'll probably cut this short because I don't understand why my internet is not working right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's on.
We got another freeze.
Now it's not. And you guys just refreshed. And again, like, I don't know what's up with this. It's never done this before.
Yeah.
Not since the Discord disasters.
But, yeah.
Eric
okay.
says
I
he
see
enjoyed
memes.
Malignant. Put it on
I
the
did
screen
too.
because I don't
I
know
thought it was
if y'all
fun.
can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. It's going in and out. I thought
Okay.
Malignant was all right.
I will.
Less than stellar.
I don't think I watched it.
It creeped my uncle out for some reason. My uncle's not really a horror. He's not into horror stuff, but he said he was actually scared by it because he wasn't like, you know, well, that might have spoiled a lot, but I'm trying not to.
Yeah, it didn't spook me per se, but I definitely had fun with it. Malignant to me was like James Wan getting to do a major budget Frank Henenlotter movie.
Oh, that's a good way of putting it.
So I was like, cool, this is weird. It's going to expose a ton of people to the weird stuff that not a lot of people know about, like Frank Henenlotter anymore, it seems.
I really don't think there's a movie that's horror that has really affected me in the past 20 years.
20? Wow.
Wow.
I consider myself pretty desensitized, but I can think of 3.
Like,
one of them wasn't the movie itself. I don't know if I've ever shared it live, but when I saw It Chapter 2 with my best friend,
yeah,
a drunk guy came in with his kids and sat directly behind us and was drunk all throughout the previews. When I just took it on the chin and was like, okay, it's preview time, they're kids. I know it's a 10 p.m. showing, but I'll tolerate it for now. 15 minutes go by into the movie, and I'm like, hey, can you guys please stop talking at normal volume? Can you whisper if you need to talk? And the guy pulled a switchblade on me.
Oh my god!
And was
Wow.
swishing it behind my neck for about 20 minutes. So I was more scared to just not move than I was in the movie.
Oh, dude, that's insane.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I sat paralyzed and watched the movie because
Holy
we'd already
shit.
reported the guy to management before the movie started. We both snuck out to use the bathroom and was like, hey, this guy's drunk and super loud and a little aggro.
Yeah.
Want you guys to have a heads
You
up.
didn't tell them that he had a switchblade?
Well, I didn't know until 20 minutes in the movie. And
Oh,
he
jeez, yeah.
He
Would've been
popped
like,
it, opened his kid's candy, and then was like flicking it at the back of my hair.
oh,
Wow.
So I was like, I'm not even gonna stand up because I'm scared this guy's drunk enough. He'll just pop.
Jesus.
But that was more that guy than the movie.
Yeah.
The movie's more funny than scary.
Jeez.
Wow, that's quite a story, man.
Yeah.
Did you still end up reviewing It Chapter 2?
When I worked at the movie theater.
I did.
Did you add that into the?
My first review actually was just talking about that story. The second review was the movie.
Here's my review of this Switchblade. I know this is a movie review.
You started to say something, Kino.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I was just going to muse about working in the movie theater and saying something that you could have done, but it's useless, so it's fine.
What were you gonna? What was the tip?
Yeah. I mean, it could happen again in this town. So.
Well, basically, like, in the theater, you have like the ushers who come in at particular intervals. You would have to try to flag one down.
Oh, well, I mean, like I
The
said,
only
the guy
thought
was
that
flicking, and I was like, I didn't even want to make a sudden movement to look like I was going to
Yeah.
the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And an
you
usher
were
did
with
come
somebody?
in,
You were
like, look,
with
yeah,
somebody though, right?
yeah, and an usher did come in, and like, I like
Yeah.
did this with my head because he was sitting like right behind me, and they just stood there and watched.
Jeez.
But I talked to a manager afterwards.
Yeah, it's a tough
helped them pull
situation.
security
I don't
footage.
even know.
But on a lighter note, saw The Witch lately. That kind of chilled me on an anxiety sense.
Oh really? I liked the movie, but I didn't feel that way. I was hoping to too.
Oh, for me, it was more like the situation just escalated out of Anna Taylor-Joy's control. I mean,
Yeah.
she was probably the best of the family, most committed to her values, and then everybody decides to go on a witch hunt rather than confront their own issues.
Yeah. I have to say too, I like that movies are kind of pulling from like personal drama now, or like starting to make statements again, like horror films. I saw Last Night in Soho last Wednesday, and that is one for sure that's very thumbs up movie, and for sure it's a very it's I think like the horror aspects were there, and it would be more frightening, I feel, if you were like a woman.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a female centric POV in that movie.
Yeah.
And like we talked about early,
right, Kino? We're a couple of bros being dudes.
I have what? We are coming up on almost to an hour. So if you would have any final thoughts for Sleepy Hollow, it'd be a good time to get those in.
Okay. Sleepy Hollow thought from my notes. I do want to talk about it. I have two things, if that's okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
There is a line that really stuck with me that kind of, I feel like it was probably Burton's mindset at the time. Johnny Depp's Crane is talking about being bewitched and beaten down by reason. And part of me feels like that might be Burton making a statement about the studio system. He wants to be a creative. He wants to be more progressive with his themes and stuff. But there's a lot of signs that, especially there, it seemed like that was the turning point in his career, that studios wanted to make more commercialized stuff with just a little bit of Burton spice, not a full-on Burton movie.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I could... sorry. No, I just wanted to add to that because I feel like, too, the screenwriter Andrew Kevin Walker might have been the same for him, because he was known for doing a lot of those kind of like really dark movies to that point. And I feel like there was a large gap in his filmography might have been from here until The Wolfman, because he had Seven, he had 8mm in this, and then it felt like it was just kind of a perfect time, perfect place with him and Burton for this kind of movie. I just wanted to add to that point, was all.
No, and yeah, I felt like he did, so I wanted to hear it. And then point two, was anyone else uncomfortable about the age difference on the love story?
God, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
I looked at it, and Burton was, not Burton, Depp was 37, 38 when this was filmed. And Ricci had just turned 18.
Oh, wow.
She was just in Addams Family like 3 years earlier.
Man.
Yeah.
It's a bit sketch.
Oh, yeah.
She was very obviously...
Yeah.
Well,
it was,
the dresses in this movie definitely were fashioned in a style.
Oh, yeah.
For one, I love that black and white striped dress that she was wearing, and I want it. But also, wow, I don't know.
Yeah, it is pushing up a lot.
Yeah, it was those Pride and Prejudice style dresses.
Yeah. Thank God it was with Johnny Depp, not Jeffrey Jones.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp was uncomfortable.
Oh, okay, that's good to hear, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad to see that the movie was more chaste with its love story, even though like every other romance in the movie was full on horn.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he walks into town and people are just making out on the porch of the courthouse.
Yeah.
I wonder, now that we're talking about that, I wonder if that was more of a statement on Burton's part as opposed to like this is a young person with an older person trope kind of thing. I wonder if it was more of a comment on it because of the other characters, how risque they were.
That's a good point. I think it's
Yeah.
very possible.
For sure, because even that exists today. It's just that the people are older. Like with going back to why can't I think of it? The Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga movie. Like there's
Oh
a
yeah.
10 to 15 year difference, and it seems like even that in a lot of movies today, like they're 30 or 40, the guys are, and then the women are like mid 20s at least.
Oh, I was gonna say like Tom Cruise, or even the newest Dune movie.
Yeah.
The gal who plays Timothée Chalamet's mom in the movie is 7 years older than Chalamet,
Oh wow.
and she's supposed to be not officially wife in the story, but partner to Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of part of the misogyny of the film industry.
Yeah,
It's like, which really sucks.
Yeah.
especially for women.
Oh yeah, especially unattractive women, because if you have a woman that's not like that doesn't look physically attractive, then you're screwed as soon as you hit 26, or if you don't hit that movie that finds your niche, because the one there's so many examples of it.
I wouldn't even say like someone who's not physically attractive. I would just say someone who doesn't achieve the traditional standard of beauty.
Yeah.
Which again, that's kind of the Burton tradition versus progressive thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking you might be onto something with it being so chaste as a commentary. Like, hey, these people are like 20 years apart. Let's not have them do anything more than hug and hold hands.
Mm-hmm.
We really,
that could have also been an Depp's influence.
Yeah.
Been
he
a
was
lot of
close to Depp. So I mean, Depp was close to Burton. So he still is. So
for some reason, I was just looking up ugly celebs, and I know you have passed on, and I'm trying to figure out the guy's name. He was in James Bond. And he has like this really long kind of oh god. Hold on, let me make this joke here. This will be worth it.
Okay.
Vincent Schiavelli, you are beautiful in the eyes of somebody.
Was that the guy who played
Was
Jaws?
that the joke?
That's the joke. You're welcome.
Okay, I think we're gonna end it on that note.
Well, you didn't want my thoughts on the movie.
Yeah, he has thoughts too.
Yeah, you don't even want my thoughts. Jesus.
The joke just killed all desire for your
At least I didn't just end the stream like I did that one time.
That was great. Somebody saw Vincent Schiavelli is like, I want to bone this man right now. I have it's just like I cannot put my hands off of it.
What did you want to say?
No, it's a great film. I enjoyed it. Well, not great, but really good. I really enjoyed it. I love the cinematography more than anything. We talked about other inspirations. I wanted to ask you guys one more thing before we go, but there any like little known horror films that you would recommend that like not a lot of people have seen? Because for me, my choice is The Battery from 2012.
Oh, good pick.
Mm.
Do you have one, Kino? Get the details.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't know what is not as known anymore.
I've got one. I don't know if it's still streaming on Prime. It used to be on Prime
Yeah.
and Tubi. It's a movie called The Last Broadcast.
I've heard of that.
It's kind of infamous. They tried to claim they were the first of the found footage movie craze because they came out just like 6 weeks before Blair Witch. But rather than any like mythological elements, it's all about like a true crime series trying to investigate a killer, and it just uses all these reports that they fictionalize to come up with a narrative, and it's really cool. It does some neat stuff on really lo-fi tech. If you could stand that 480p VCR footage look of it,
Oh,
it's one I recommend to people.
That sounds awesome.
I'm going to recommend a movie that I was in called Beloved Beast, and I think it's streaming on all kinds of stuff, but I don't know what.
Lazy, no.
I think it's on Tubi. It was on Amazon. Hold on, let me look.
I'm going to recommend everybody go see Quarantine right now, free on YouTube. It's a short film we all did.
And Quarantine, which soon I should find out if it is streaming or not streaming. Well, I guess it would be streaming because it's digital, or it may not be at Axwin Film Festival. I don't know. We'll find out soon.
Oh,
congrats if so.
Yeah. Did you say Aspen or Axpen?
Axe Wound.
Oh, Axe Wound. Okay, sorry.
Let's see. I don't know where. Oh, I'll just go on here. Ah, that was smart.
I'm not seeing Last Broadcast streaming anywhere, which is weird.
I do want to recommend others real quick. I think it's called V or Voy, VIY.
Yes, I just watched that at the start of this month.
Terrific movie. And then also Pontypool. It should be way more known.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that.
I loved that one.
That should be way more known, or at least have had a sequel or something.
I don't know what Beloved Beast is on. It might have just disappeared because I am looking all over the place and I can't find it.
But I definitely second that the VIY. I also don't know how to pronounce that title.
Yeah.
It's Russian, isn't it?
We reviewed it on our podcast, our thing. We did like doubles for the whole month, and we started with Human Centipede 2, and then we had a live commentary of a Serbian film to end it and the month, and then in between we did Raw and Titan as a double. What else?
I haven't seen Titan yet, but Raw.
Yeah. Deathgasm and Night of the Demons 2 as a double. What else? V or Voy, and what else? I had it right here. Since we're killing a little time. And Cannibal Holocaust with the V or Voy. And then and then we watched Serbian Film Director's Cut. It does not hold up.
Yeah, I can't imagine there was a lot of great thematic stuff that needed to be added to Serbian film.
It's just so boring. Like when you're first watching it, you're in shock of everything that's happening, and then when you go back and rewatch it for that shock, everything's worn off, and that's the whole appeal of the movie. It's kind of sad.
I don't even get shocked by stuff anymore. It's so upsetting. Nothing phases me.
Well, I'm sure life will find a way to loop that back around.
Yeah.
I went through a couple of years.
The only stuff
nothing got me.
Really affects me is like real animal abuse stuff.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. That's why I
That's
haven't seen
really...
Cannibal Ferox or Holocaust yet.
No, not even like in movies, like documentaries.
Just in general?
Those are the things that bother me.
Well, both Ferox and Holocaust, they hurt animals for real.
I know.
So
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember that.
So like,
but
those infomercials with Sarah McLachlan singing, those get to you?
I don't watch those anymore, but kind of, yeah.
That's a yes.
But like, there's this documentary called Earthlings, and there's this shot of, I think it's a German Shepherd just being thrown in the back of a garbage truck and getting crushed, and his horrifying, and that is like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and it's just permanently in my brain.
Man.
That is the
That's
kind
rough.
of thing. That's what destroys me.
Yeah, I can't do that stuff either.
Yeah, that's rough. Have you
But,
seen
like,
Toy Story? They're alive.
horror movie stuff?
So, I will say that Martyrs did get to me on first viewing. Normally, I have some kind of snarky comment at the end of horror movies, even ones that stun me.
Yeah.
I was just straight up stunned and silent for 5 minutes.
Martyrs was kind of tough. I came around to enjoying it, but yeah, that is a rough movie to watch.
Yeah, we watched it in the history of horror film class in college, and all these really loud, peppy, talky gals had comments about everything. Were in literal tears at the end of the screening, sitting next to me.
It was, you watched the French one, not the remake, correct?
There is no other one, just the French one, right?
There's actually a remake.
Oh, I'm being very.
I'm pretty
snarky.
sure that's
Of course.
well,
You mean like the Batman vs Superman movie that does not exist?
Or the Avatar, Last Airbender movie.
No, I've clearly seen that movie. That movie does exist.
No.
As
nothing.
no, it clearly did. M. Night Shyamalan directed. He's called Ung.
final
I think
thoughts.
Kino wants to focus. All my notes are covered.
Yeah.
It was really
I
weird
mean-
for Ricci and Depp to get paired together, but I think that was a studio thing and not a Burton thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be. I like this movie, but I don't think I really had the attention span for it last night as I once had. I don't know. Parts of it felt like it dragged to me, but at the same time, maybe I just wasn't all that interested last night and I should have watched it this morning like I had intended.
It helps. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Actually, I did think of another thought. It works great as a horror movie, not as a mystery.
Yes. That's a
Agreed.
good point.
Agreed.
The mystery is a mess, and you don't get given the clues until it's solved.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to mention something.
Okay.
Marcella was telling me that I needed to add a horse movie.
Yeah.
There's a horse in this movie.
Yeah.
That's true. The Headless Horseman.
And there's several horses. And Johnny Depp rode a horse, and he's like, good horsey.
But I thought you were going to choose like Black Beauty or Seabiscuit or...
I mean, I do like Black Beauty, and I like the Black Stallion, but I just don't feel like talking about them. I could rant for hours on stuff in horse movies alone, but that's fine. Anyway,
That would be great. I'd love to have that episode where we just sit back and you just rant about hours.
Johnny Depp adopted the horse. Eric, you just made my day.
It's a terrific movie.
That's adorable.
You want to watch me rant about horse movies? I am highlighting this because
Yeah,
that is
that's
just
a great
awesome.
film.
That is cool. That is awesome that he did that.
Yes. Anyway,
And-
so that is it.
Just so it's in here, Nacho. Much better.
Okay. Anyone want to say something about their costume? Chris?
I got a Ghostbusters uniform. It's almost screen accurate. I need to get some knee pads. But a friend hooked me up, and I know one of the effects people. He was one of my mentors in college, so I can just ask him for costume details when I.
Oh, that's
try and put
awesome.
them together.
That is awesome, man. Yeah.
Okay. I will do a horse rant episode.
See? You see?
It has been requested. But should it be one of these, or should it be just a plain old video on my YouTube channel?
That's a good point. If we don't have
I guess
anything for November, we should do that.
Yeah, I guess it depends
November
on
we
the
have
horse
the
movie.
craft.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
We have the
I still haven't
craft
seen
in
the craft,
November.
so.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I also have December picked out, and we may or may not have the filmmakers on with us.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah. If you see this
Well-
on any of my pics on my Instagram or Facebook, my nips are huge as hell. So just know that. My nips show big through stuff. That's why I wear dark stuff. You said
asked for
comment on the
details.
costume.
You asked for costume details.
You asked for costume details.
Totally irrelevant to anything.
I get
anyone
pasties, but
would have been talked about.
we're gonna have the craft filmmakers on my nips. They just show. That's a good way to end it with that freeze frame of her.
Yeah. You're frozen like laugh face.
That's a perfect way to end it. It was just like 80s style, just the credits come up.
That's also.
Eric's out. Yeah, I'm out too. Hold on. I have a thing to show everybody. Thank you to our patrons. Eric is actually Geek Channel 8.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
So,
thank you, patrons.
yeah.
Appreciate
Anyway,
it.
so next month is the craft. And yeah, I'll see y'all then. And I end the broadcast.